There was a dog named Max. Max was a Belgian Malinois. He was not just any dog. His eyes were bright with a keen intelligence. His body was lean and powerful, built for speed and endurance. People in the small community often whispered about him. They would watch him train with his handler, Officer Dave, in the local park. They called him the smartest dog they had ever seen. Max seemed to understand words before they were even fully spoken. He moved with a purpose that was beautiful and a little bit intimidating to watch. He was a quiet, focused soul with an incredible spirit. One crisp autumn day, a deep sense of dread fell over the small town of Pine Ridge. A young child, only 6 years old, had wandered away from a family picnic. The picnic spot was dangerously close to the swift river, known for its fast currents and icy water. Panic spread like wildfire. The air grew thick with fear and unspoken prayers. Everyone knew that time was not on their side. Max and his handler, Officer Dave, arrived quickly. The moment the door opened, a hush fell over the frantic crowd. Max did not bark or jump. He sat calmly, gaze fixed on Dave's face, waiting for instructions. 5 years together, countless hours of training, trust, and mutual respect. With that one word, Max transformed. He was no longer a calm, waiting dog. He became a blur of focused energy. He did not run wildly. He moved with the calculated precision of a seasoned professional. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the dog began his work, a flash of tan and black fur disappearing into the dense woods, a silent promise of hope. The town of Pine Ridge was nestled in a valley full of dense old-growth trees. The forest floor was a confusing carpet of fallen leaves, twigs, moss. The swift river carved a winding path of jagged rocks and steep, slippery banks. The lost child, Liam, had wandered off the main trail, chasing a butterfly. Wind howled through the tall pines. Colorful leaves danced. The chaos made the search harder for humans. Max, however, was not confused. He relied on his most powerful tool, his nose. A Belgian Malinois can have up to 300 million olfactory receptors, compared to a human's mere 6 million. This lets them detect scents days old or carried miles on the wind. Max lowered his head, then lifted to taste the air and mapped the area. He ran straight lines, then wide circles, air scenting to cover vast territory efficiently. Dave followed at a distance, trusting his partner. Max was in his element, focused, trained, bred for this. Suddenly, he stopped, stood at a low rocky ridge, and let out a single sharp trained bark. He looked back at Dave, eyes sending a clear message, then pointed with his nose toward thorny bushes. Dave pushed aside tangled branches. In the soft mud were small faint footprints leading down a treacherous slope toward the roaring river. Hope and fear battled in Dave's heart. He uncoiled a rope, secured it to an old oak, and readied the descent. The sight of the footprints confirmed their worst fears. The child was near the dangerous river. Holding the rope, he gave Max his next command. "Go, Max, easy. A calm handler creates a calm dog." Max understood perfectly and began a slow, deliberate descent, claws finding traction. The swift river thundered. A human might hear nothing, but Max's hearing was acute. His ears turned like radar, scanning for the one sound that mattered. Then he heard it. A tiny, weak whimper. Max's pace quickened. He navigated rocks and roots with urgency and precision, homing in on a moss-covered boulder at the water's edge. Liam was soaked and shivering, too exhausted to cry out. Max did not startle him. He approached slowly, lay down to appear smaller, rested his head on the child's knee, and offered a soft, reassuring whine. The handler, Dave, finally reached them, using the rope to guide his descent safely. He immediately went to the child's side, training taking over. He gently checked Liam for injuries, hands moving with practiced efficiency. The child was dangerously cold, in the early stages of hypothermia, but alive and unharmed. They wrapped him in a warm emergency blanket and radioed for an ambulance. Throughout, Max stayed by the child's side, perfectly still and quiet, a steady, reassuring presence. Liam kept a tight grip on Max's soft ear. The dog did not flinch, understanding the comfort it brought. Max was not just a search tool. He was therapy, guardian, and friend. They began the difficult climb. Max walked alongside, a furry sentinel. At the ridge, a wave of cheers and tears swept the crowd. People clapped, shouted thanks, and rushed to praise the heroic dog and his handler. Hope returned to Pine Ridge. The mayor shook Dave's hand and reserved his highest praise for Max, presenting a bright red ribbon and a very large, delicious-looking smoked bone. Max wagged politely, indifferent to ribbons. What he cherished most was the quiet moment before the ambulance, when the child reached out and gave him a gentle hug. That silent thanks was the greatest reward. In the days that followed, news of Max's rescue spread. Local channels and social media lit up. Letters and emails poured in. People wanted to know about Max, the Belgian Malinois breed, its intelligence, and its capacity for such complex work. They were fascinated. Focus, bravery, gentle compassion, all in one dog.
Officer Dave answered questions. It's all about building a strong, positive relationship. We train in small steps every day. The most important thing is to make the dog feel safe, confident, happy.
We use praise, play, positive reinforcement, never fear or intimidation. A joyful dog will move mountains for you. Liam recovered quickly, talking endlessly about his brave friend. He drew Max with a giant red heart. The town framed it in the Central Park. This true story shows dogs can learn amazing skills, that compassionate training unlocks potential, and that calm care can change everything. A smart, well-trained dog, guided by love and trust, saved a life. With his nose, but with his heart. If you love hearing true stories of animal heroes like Max, please join our community. Subscribe to our channel for new tales of courage and connection. Like this story. Share it to help spread inspiration to others. Become a member to get access to exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes content, special perks. Ask us your questions in the comments. We often do live Q&A. Join us to meet more heroes like Max and celebrate the bond between humans and animals.